says number who kept their homes, number who increased employment skills, number who got a job, and you see each month, the number, and people, like, ooh, look what, this place is doing something. And you look over here and it says, congratulations, Maria, and you see her story about how she became self-sufficient. Completely different branding, feel, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's an exciting story. I love this one. Okay, let's go ahead and, unless there are some more questions or observations. And by the way, if I start flicking screens, let me know. I'm clueless and I need your help. Okay? So let's take a look at the next phase, is to determine those milestones. And we already determined the big things we got to do. We got to get case management and higher up. We got to get more money. We got to change how we think about ourselves and other people think about us. There were some other major issues, but I just gave you some examples. Well, the question is, what happens by when? I mean, how do we know we're going to get there? Let me give you an example. We set 3,800 as the number of folks who become self-sufficient in 18 months. Well, have we ever done this before? A handful of domestic violence people, do we know it'll work? Well, no, we don't know. It's up to the number of people who really want to take personal action. Well, how many will want to? Well, I don't know how many are going to want to do that. But we're going to build a whole organization around these numbers? What are those numbers? They're stakes in the sand. There's something that we set up there and we know where it is, but sand's a little movable. But if we don't get there in the 2 months we thought we were going to get there, what's it mean? That we're crummy? No. It means we got to figure a new way to do this. It's just like the Coke bottles. Went from 600 to 1,000. What are you going to do? Complain to the boss? Well, you can. You're going to think, how could we do this differently? What did we assume that's not working out? What do we call the things that we assume when we set a plan? Assumptions, yes, thank you very much. There's some key metrics. These are the key things about your organization you always want to be monitoring, because they're going to tell you if your plans are working or not. What would be a key metric for CRC?
Number of inquiries.
Okay, what else? Conversion rate. Number of people who create a plan. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's take a look at how you set milestones and metrics. So we got 3,800 who are going to achieve a plan. Can everybody see this, by the way? And we know we got 6,800 we think will seek aid over the next 3 years. Well, we're going to have a certain number who create a plan, right? Guess the number on that. So a number who get and stay housed, who complete their training and actually achieve the plan. There's your conversion rate. Key number. Another key conversion rate right there. There's it's a little more complex because there's time involved and that kind of thing. But basically, since you don't know the future anyway, you're just setting stakes in the sand. But at least you know when you need to adjust. Any questions on this? Yes, sir?
What would you do in year 2 of the plan? Would you be always changing your goal, or would you stick to that goal and then go out the next 3 years?
Great question. What do you guys think? Could you repeat your question, please?
What would you do in year 2 of the plan? Would you readjust your goals based upon your progress, or would you keep those goals and then go out maybe in the next 2 years to be able to move forward your plan?
So the question is, what do you do in year 2? Do you keep your 2-year goals and just project forward, or do you adjust them and change the whole plan? It depends on where you are. To the largest degree possible, it's like a budget. You don't reset it. You figure out what changes you can make to adjust the numbers. If you're starting an entirely new business, you reset it. I mean, because you discovered what you didn't know before. You started measuring things that you hadn't measured before. You had no way of knowing how many people were really going to create a plan, for example. I hope that answered your question.
But then would you also then keep making another 3-year plan so that you always have the next vision, or do you wait till maybe, till you finish the first plan before you do it?
That's another great question. Do you wait until the last month of your 3rd-year plan to set a new 3-year plan?
Only if you don't want to get funded.
Yeah. No, you're running a living organism. And probably around year 2, into year 2, you're probably going to want to reset. Why? Because you know so much more now. What probably doesn't change? Your focus, where you're valuable, that kind of thing. Your 3-year impact may or may not change, or it may expand. But the key thing as leaders on boards or as executive directors is to make sure that every year we're standing up in front of our team and our funders and we're saying, here's the most important thing we're going to do this year because here's where we're going. Every year you should be having an annual meeting with your staff and that kind of thing where you say, here are the key objectives for this year. And here's what it means to the longer term. And you move forward with a living organism and a living plan. Great question. Okay. So let's take a look at the first year. This was their 3rd year. This is over 3 years they want to do these big things. What do you think is definitely going to be in their annual plan? Now wait a second. Wasn't I talking about a 3-year plan? Do we have to have an annual plan too? So what do you think they're going to have to do in their first year? Come on, hello. They're going to probably, well, it's possible, but they're going to have to at least do a test run to test out some of those numbers. Will they do 30% of, probably not because they're just now scaling up. But they're going to definitely need to do a pilot, for example, or see some initial numbers to test all the assumptions they're building their lives on for the next 3 years. Excellent point. What else? Build infrastructure. Recruit volunteers. What about this? God, another plan! Oh.